Hi there, I'm Will from Will's Vocal Studio. If you need to know a little bit more about me, just go ahead and click on this video below. It'll tell you all about everything I know about basically music. So the point of this video is to basically talk about what are the goals of taking singing lessons, because I know that some people feel like it might be just something like just pitch. It's just to help you sing a little bit more on pitch. That is one aspect of things in a very complicated puzzle. And I just want to give you some very brief points about what we're trying to focus on. So this is a two-part video. This first part is me just kind of talking about some of the things that we talk about. There are many things, but the second video will be me showing you as an example of isolating certain muscle groups and also talking about vowel placement. So why do we take voice lessons? What's the point? Well, if it's not besides pitch, then what's the point? Well, think about it. As far as pitch goes, a robot can sing a pitch. Why isn't that good enough for you? Why can't we just have everything go eh, eh, eh? Because it can be slightly annoying. Beyond pitch, there's something so much more complex, like tone. The tone of a sound can actually really make everything what the whole battle is for. For example, maybe some of your favorite singers can't sing in pitch. I have some of my favorites, and they can't sing in pitch. They can't sometimes even sing in time, but yet they're still my favorite. Why? It's a tone sound. So we start going, so what is the point of voice lessons? The point of voice lessons is, one, for us to start exploring things, muscle groups that we might use, but it's also to go and say, like, what do you actually like? Maybe you as a person don't actually know what you like. You just know what it sounds like. So if we can actually go and try to break that down so you can actually communicate ideas, that's one of the goals. So in singing lessons, yes, we do talk about theory, we do talk about techniques such as breathing techniques or controlling certain muscle groups, but we do also talk about placement, such as where we go and place sound. If you hold a note and you hold it like a and you go or that's the same note. It's the same note. It just sounds so different, you know, in that way. And let me take out the vibrato, so it's not something that's still there it is. So that's the same note, but they sound so different. So we can control things like an aspect of where we place sound in our face. Fascinating. Other things is also we talk about how to stay on pitch for either short or long notes. Basically, sometimes some people are very good at singing maybe staccato in a very fast way, but then when they go legato, long notes, like in a slow song, it really exposes some things about yourself as a singer, and then you're like, oh, I don't sing long notes at all. I just rap. Or I don't rap because I'm terrified of singing quickly because I notice that I'm falling out of time. Hey, there's an aspect about why you would want to take voice lessons. Rappers take voice lessons not for pitch, but to go and actually work on their flow so they can know where the beats are and then how to dance around it. You shouldn't feel like a robot. You should be able to move back and forth ahead or behind the beat or right on top of the beat if you decide to do that. We also talk, like I said, we do talk about music theory, but this can sometimes be something that you just don't even need to know about. It's helpful though in communicating your ideas, and that's really what we're trying to get across. Other things we talk about would be something like microphone technique. You know, this is the gateway to how do you go and actually communicate your ideas to an audience is through a PA system. So the number one goal that you're not allowed to do is you're not allowed to piss off the sound guy because you have no technique whatsoever, meaning that you're going and talking really quietly in the mic. Then that would really piss him off because he goes, God, no! Oh! And he pulls you down. And then for the rest of the show is ruined because you have no mic technique. If you're interested in learning a little bit about it, I have a video on my website about mic technique for my students. We also even talk about things like recording techniques, about how to record your voice, or even just in general recording, if that's something that you want to learn about. The other thing that we also do is we talk about what the instruments are doing with each other when we hear a piece of music. You know, you want to think about it that you as a singer, you are more of a conductor, if anything. You are more... Everybody in that entire room is staring at the singer. If we're on a show and we're playing something, everybody's watching the singer because we're looking to see if we can tell what this song is going to do. What's it about? How do we move to it? How do we respond to it? If you sing in tune, I can hear the guitar player. I can hear the piano player. I can hear the xylophone player. Like, I can hear all kinds of instruments. If you sing in time, I can start to noticing that there's a and you are singing to that beat. But if you just ignore it and just don't even pay attention to it, and I'm just singing and I'm not even paying attention to you. But if I'm just singing and I'm paying attention to you, but if you're doing those things, I start noticing, wow, that bass line is boom, boom, boom. I start noticing things as a layman to music that you as the conductor help me notice things because you are aware of how the drum beat is switching between parts. Boom, da, boom. If you're showing me what to look at because you are using your voice to orchestrate things, such as if you're going to say, and everyone follow me this way, that's how you cue somebody to follow with you with this kind of a sound in your voice. And now we go, that is a cue. That is a cue. We do that in music too. You have to cue us for things. How do we respond to music? How do we jump? Do we headbang? You do this with your voice. You suggest ideas to us. You are a conductor. That's the way to best think about this. Now, beyond all that stuff that we're just talking about, actual music and getting so that we can, because each one of these things, man, this could take like a few sessions, could take a month, could take a year to even just get one idea, such as how do we use this muscle group to sing. But beyond that, there are psychological aspects of things that we are constantly at battle with. For example, you are constantly fighting what most people are afraid of, which is stage fright. Stage fright is a fight or flight response. When you get up on stage, though you may have warmed up, though you may rehearse with your band, all of a sudden you might notice, my mouth is completely dry. I was just drinking water and now it's all dry. And you're literally seconds away from jumping on stage. This is a fight or flight response. You're terrified, it's drying up your throat, stop talking, get off the stage. That's what it's trying to tell you. But you put all this work into this. Why do you want to go and stop now? We have to go and find a way to power through. That is an aspect of it. Separately, there are things like stage presence that we actually talk about. Nothing is more frustrating than watching a singer who is just terrified to be up there and they don't know how to command a stage. They don't know how to go further and further back to blend in. Some people do it purposefully, like Maynard. Maynard from Tool will do it purposefully to go and push back and make all the instruments more of a focus. But that's a very strong choice versus making sure that you are the number one thing that we're watching. We're looking at you to know how to understand and interpret your music or anybody's music, and for that matter. It helps to go and know what the singer is suggesting to us to pay attention to. It also exudes confidence. Confidence is something that's one of the number one things that I hear is that people, like, they get on to go do karaoke because they only have liquid courage, but not when they're dry as a bone. They can't sing. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it without some form of a substance. How do you sing? How do you have the confidence to sing without a crutch? We should attack that. We should talk about that, man. Another thing that we talk about, and here's another probably something that I don't feel like is addressed enough, is that singers will have a very hard time communicating back and forth with other members of the band. Why? Because they don't speak the same language as you. They're worried. You are a frail person who is walking in there with your voice, and all of a sudden you'll sing something and you're vulnerable. You're like a pulsing vein that's just aching to be pushed on here. Because when you go and say, how was that? They don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to do that. So they might either be very bland or very unhelpful. Like, that was good. It could be better. That's not really, like, if somebody says that to you about your instrument playing, if I played a guitar part and they said something like, it was okay, that's not helpful. It's not helpful information. We as singers have to be able to draw information out from things that somebody might say, because they will literally use the wrong word. Is the fun thing. They might be saying something like, it sounded scratchy. They don't mean scratchy. What they mean is that you're pinching your throat. That's not the same thing as scratchy, Or they might say something like you're pitchy. They don't mean that you're pitchy. It's that you're singing through your nose. These are fun things. You have to go and figure out, what are they actually saying to me? And then how do I use that information? Because we want to be open for suggestions, open to be adapted towards the music, so that we encourage your bandmates to talk to you, tell you what they don't like, because they're going to be very timid about doing it. They're worried about hurting your feelings. Tell a guitar player that wasn't a very good guitar part, he goes, and he puts down his guitar and he's fine. Of course, a cop and attitude. But as a singer, oh, it hurts so deeply into your soul when somebody tells you that it wasn't good. So we want to try to say, you need to encourage this kind of behavior. Encourage for you to be open for people to give you feedback so that you can change, you can adapt and grow. That's how singers do this. Most of the time, your voice over time will degrade. It will get worse over time. The older you get, muscle fibers are fighting against you because you're getting older. Past a certain age, anywhere from 32 to 35 or something around there, you will notice a significant change in your muscle fibers. Meaning that note, I used to be able to hit it when I was a kid. I can't hit it now. Well, you have to train. It's not unusual to go and see a 60-year-old dude with a six pack. It could happen. If you see it, you're like, still, damn, that's really impressive. But that's the same idea for your voice. Your voice is in muscle. It's an instrument that you have to train. You have to work on it. And you do that by being flexible towards things. So the other reason, and then I've given you a gazillion reasons on why to take voice lessons, and it's mostly so that you get information and also so that you have the confidence you need to go and make music, and then an awareness of where you fit in the mix. Is that just because you can sing well does not mean you can sing well under all conditions. What if your band is on tour in Montana, in the elevate, or you're in the mountains somewhere, and the elevation is there? Versus what if you're in Salt Lake City, where it's all very dry, and you're all dried out because you're singing in the desert because you're over in California or something like that, out in the desert and around yucca trees. Or what if you're not used to being in a bar filled with smoke? Still, they do have those still. What do you do? Or even worse, what if you're sick? What if you're sick? So is the show over? All the work and the plan and the tour over, or the recording session? Because everybody really wanted to record here, guys. We booked a day out. We prepaid for $1,000 day at this hot shit recording studio. Let's do this. Again, I'm sick. How can you possibly work with that? You can. That's the point of voice lessons. Voice lessons are to take the fact that you have to realize you are not a machine. I can pick up a guitar and there are small things that I don't understand that might have changed overnight. I need to tighten the strings, or maybe I notice some rust or corrosion or something. You as a person are changing all the time. You don't just turn on like a robot and you're the same person the whole time. You have changed from where you sleep, how if you slept with your mouth open, if you had consumed too much sugar, too much salt, alcohol, if you're a mouth breather, everything, temperature, humidity, everything changes your voice. Everything. It's a constant state of flux. So the first aspect is, how do you find what you like? And then how do you stay there no matter what's going on around you? And even so, how do you stay there when psychologically things are trying to go and basically sabotage you? That's the point of voice lessons. Now, I encourage you to stick around, watch the other video, because that one will show you an example of some muscle groups that you can use. But that's the whole idea of voice lessons. There are many reasons. Ask any voice teacher and they'll be happy to go down a gazillion and just be like, this is such a loaded question. But I want you to realize that it's just like every instrument. It's the more you learn, the less you realize you know. And now you're hungry to get more out of it. You want to understand all aspects of your voice. So I encourage you to take voice lessons.